my fellow cigar smokers, and welcome to Smokers Pod, and to the very first episode of Night Owl. What is that all about, Night Owl? What are we doing here? And so on, and so on. We'll come to that in a second. But first of all, the most important things, like first things first, let's get to the cigar we are smoking. That is the Kentucky Fire Cured by True Estate. Guys, I'm like always saying that this is the best smelling cigar there is. But a little bit more about the cigar later on, I would say. Let's cut it. V-cut time. Here we go. Lovely cigar. So, Night Owl. What is that here? I call it Night Owl because I am a night owl. That means I'm very active in the night where usually other people are sleeping. So, to clarify that a little bit more, like I'm usually awake like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I'm sleeping until, don't know, 10 or 11 or so. So I'm kind of getting active around 9 or 10 p.m. So that is actually where my day starts. Well, not really the day starts, but that's when I'm getting really, when I'm becoming creative, and that's my favorite time. Taking into account when you have 24 hours, so the early mornings and the late nights, that's kind of my time. So that's why I called it Night Owl. I planned to call it Midnight Smoke. But a few months ago, I started exactly that Midnight Smoke on the other channel. Two buddies of mine and myself. We are doing a podcast that is called Frankfurter Stumbe. It's in German, and it's also cigar related. And like I said, it's a podcast, but we also like streaming the podcast on our YouTube channel. And then after a while I thought, well, it would be cool to doing like a solo thing, and that's why I started that Midnight Smoke over there. So that here is more or less the same thing. And what are we doing here is, it's not really about the cigar. We are smoking a cigar, but that's not like the important thing here. It's more like being together, smoking a cigar together, and trying to share a few stories, what I experienced during the day, the week, or whatever, and just talk a little about, hang out together, smoking a cigar together, and just trying to entertain people a little bit, And it first started just like a gimmick, just recording something that is very long and not so exciting at all, because sometimes we're smoking, we're drinking, I'm talking a little bit, but then there are periods where I'm just like saying nothing for 1 or 2 minutes. So what I was trying to achieve or do is, virtually hanging out together, like you would do it in a cigar lounge, where you're sitting with a couple of buddies. At some point, you start talking, or your friends start talking, or other person, but then on the other hand, there might be a couple of minutes where nobody's talking. We're just sitting together and enjoying your smoke, and that's all. So it's no exciting stuff here. I'm just talking a little bit and trying to virtually being together, sharing the time, sharing the cigar, sharing the passion for cigars and stories and so on. That's about it, guys. And usually I'm talking like as long as the cigar is burning. So let's see. So I'm not explaining all this like on every episode. Now on the first one, that you know what you can expect when you're watching the Night Owl. So, and because I'm trying to do more or less the same thing, recording or not, what I'm usually doing when I'm sitting here, I'm here in my little mini lounge, and you just maybe don't know that perspective, because usually I'm sitting on that high table when I'm doing the reviews and cigar talks and stuff, and I'm just sitting in the other corner. So usually I'm recording from over there, and I'm just in the other corner right now. And what I'm doing is, like I said, no matter if I'm recording or not, I'm here, smoking a cigar, drinking a whiskey, maybe have a few snacks, and doing my thing. So what I always do is, most of the time, I'm also drinking. So, and that's what we're also doing today. So what do we have here today is, let me show you. You already know that if you're watching a couple of reviews. I have here my favorite decanter. That's from the Peaky Blinders series. And right now in there is a Lafroig quarter cask single malt. Very good Scotch whiskey. Probably also talking a little bit about that whiskey later on, because what we have is we have enough time. So let's see. That tumbler here, you see, that also has that Frankfurter Stumbel logo engraved. We have 3 of them for Ollie, Michael, the other 2 guys where I'm doing the podcast with, and for myself. So guys, cheers to good health. Hope we enjoy the time together. Good one. Actually, I tried recording this one yesterday, but somehow I messed up the focus on my camera. So all the time, not my face was on the focus, but instead like the bookshelf here behind. And I think it was because of the lighting, the lens, or the zoom or the focus was confused, because I also had a candle here, and so I was constantly out of focus, and I was looking at it after I recorded it, and then I thought, man, I cannot do that. It wasn't looking good at all. It's not like we're not doing a review where I'm showing a lot of things and stuff. So, but it has to look good, So, I think today that's a little bit better. looking good at least. And what I also have is a few pieces of chocolate. So, the Kentucky Fire cured by True Estate. Actually, that here is the fat. They called it a fat molly, and um, 5 inches long, ring gauge of 56. Beautiful Vitola, wonderful cigar. And it has a very unique plant, and that's why I love it. There is Kentucky and Virginia in the filler, um, Nicaragua in the filler, and it has a Mexican San Andres wrapper, and I think also the binder is from Nicaragua, but let me check this. Yes, that's right. So what's so special about this cigar? The two tobaccos that are in the filler, the Virginia and the Kentucky one, these tobaccos are smoked. They hang it. They're hanging it in a barn, and they smoke it for a while. And that's where it's getting its unique flavor, especially the smell. If you smell at this on this cigar, that's really unique. I never smelled something like this before in a cigar. So I simply love it. And you know, since it's strong and kind of intense, usually that's my last cigar before I go to sleep. So right now it's around, let me see, 1 a.m. So when by the time we're finished here, it's like a couple of minutes past 2 or so, and that's probably my last cigar. Okay, that I want to share with you. And you know, another thing why I think I love this cigar so much, because every time I smell on it, I have a specific image in my mind. So I don't know if you guys ever been to Ireland, but when you're driving through Ireland, through I'm not talking about Dublin. Dublin's not Ireland. Love the city, was plenty of times over there, but that's not Ireland for me, you know. So I'm usually hanging out at the west coast, and so you're driving through that villages or you're walking through the villages, and when it's cold outside, it never gets so cold in Ireland, you know. Um, the Irish, they say they have just one season in Ireland because most of the time it's somewhere between 10 and 20 degrees Celsius most of the time, no matter if it's like spring, summer, or whatever. So it's never get too cold, it's never get too hot. I love that. So but when it's getting a little bit colder and people start heating their houses, and in all the small villages they have no like a centralized heating or something in their house. So they have this fireplace, and in there they burn peat. And the smell of peat, it also reminds me instantly of bacon, or bacon-like. And that's the same flavor and aroma I'm getting in the cigar when I'm smelling at it. So I always think when I'm smelling on this cigar, I always have Ireland in my mind. Uh, So I have to love this cigar, you know. And that's why the Lafroig whiskey over here is such an excellent pairing because it's also like a heavily peated whiskey, and they're aging the whiskey, the quarter cask, in really small casks, so that more of the oak of the cask can take its portion on the flavor of the whiskey. So it's oaky, it's peaty, it's smoky, strong in flavor. The perfect pairing for this one. I have to now double check the focus like 2 or 3 times because I don't want to do the same mistake like yesterday, recording the over an hour or so, and then I figure out the focus fucked up. But I think it looks good. By the time I'm recording this, it's Sunday. So a couple of hours we finished the podcast I was talking about. We're usually publishing like one podcast per week, and then I'm doing this midnight smokes from time to time, usually every Friday. So my two partners in crime were here today, and smoking cigars, talking a little bit, enjoying good drinks, and so on, enjoying life in this troubled times, so to say. It's good to share. Um, it's just good being together with people you like, you know. It's not good to get too isolated for too long. I still think also I'm really enjoying being alone, and that's part of why I'm enjoying that's part of it why I'm a night owl, because during that time I'm alone. You know, here in the house we have this multi-generation house. So like in the basement there's like a separate apartment where my mother is living. So apart from us, but still in the same house. We decided that a couple of years ago because she's getting older, and I thought it might be good to have her somewhere near around me in case something happens or she needs help like this, like it used to be in the old times. And then my wife, of course, and my two daughters. So, and since we are in lockdown since last year, my wife is like at home every day, working from home, and my kids also most of the time at home because the school was also suspended. So they call it here like home learning. You have to teach your kids with support of the school. Frankly, there's no support other than they sending like the task they have to do, but there's nothing like they're not doing it online or something. They're just sending shit out, and then you have to deal with it. That sucks big time. Because of course, I mean, I'm not a teacher, my wife's not a teacher, we're giving our best, but that's not the way it should be. Anyhow, what I want to say is, so I'm rarely alone at home nowadays. So, and also I love everybody over here. You need your little retreat, where you can just be alone for yourself and, thinking about things and don't need to talk to somebody. Just enjoying yourself. Oh, and like I said, also I'm enjoying being alone from time to time. I strongly believe that we are like social beings, So it's really not meant for being alone over a long time. So, and there are times where like I'm like 3-4 days in a row at home and seeing only my family, and then I'm kind of feeling, man, I need to see some of my buddies, just talking shit and just be together with friends, like-minded people, and you know, just being together. I think that's important. So this night owl thing, or midnight smoke thing, however you want to call it. Um, and as I said, it started like as a gimmick, and I never thought that somebody would find it interesting, watching like an episode that goes longer than an hour or so, and just watching somebody talking or not talking, or and just smoking and drinking and so on. But man, really, a couple of people told me like, man, that's cool. I like watching that just when I'm at breakfast or whatever, and when just like in the background. And I think especially for people that maybe that are really alone. I mean, I was complaining that there are a lot of people here in my house, but when I'm thinking about people who are, especially in this lockdown, they're really alone, and they have no choice. So it might be kind of cool if it helps them out, maybe just listening to somebody, and have the feeling that you're in another situation. Like I said, like you're sitting in the cigar lounge or at the pub or whatever. Sitting there smoking, talking, not talking, just being together. That's what I want to achieve, and I hope that somehow works out. Beautiful ash, white, solid. That's what I love about this cigar. So I don't know how your week was. Mine was kind of a lot of mixed feelings this week. Um, it started very cool because my new humidor arrived. Um, and I was thinking about this humidor for a long time. Because, before I got this one, I had like 1, 2, 3, 4 humidors here, only here in my house. I had two like small cabinet humidors. They were reaching up to like my hip or so. Um, I had a very small one, like with 4 drawers in there, and they have enough. Every drawer has like room for like 20, 25 cigars or so. And then down in the basement in my living room, there's a bigger humidor. It's not as big as that small cabinet humidors, but it has room for like, don't know, 400 cigars or so, roundabout. And man, they were all packed for months. No room. So whenever I bought new cigars, I always had to play like Tetris in the humidor to see that they're fitting in. and it wasn't looking very cool, you know. So, and if you remember, like last year, we were a lot of reviews we recorded in the Davidoff flagship store in that lounge. Also there, I have my own humidor, and it was also full. And even the shop itself started to storing my cigars in their storage room. So I had to find a solution, you know. I was thinking about buying another small cabinet humidor, but I think, man, it's just they need too much space, you know, because that mini lounge over here is already packed with books and humidors and whiskey and stuff, so it's kind of getting a little bit packed over here. So then I was looking for like big cabinet humidors, like that are like 6 feet high, and like six. I think this one is now, I don't know, like in inches or so or in foot, but it's like 1 meter and 75 centimeters, so as tall as a man, more or less, and has obviously then a lot of space. And there were a lot of humidors out there that had more or less the same dimensions, you know. And there was a big price span. And I was looking at the cheaper ones, and I was looking at the more expensive ones. And you know, I was looking at the cheaper ones, and they were looking okay, but not like perfect, you know. And I knew, because I was reading the description and looking at the pictures and so on, and I instantly figured, when I'm buying one of these, I have to put some extra work on this one, in order to make it look like exactly I want to have it. Not only look like, but also like technical wise, you know, humidification, lighting, the lighting, and so on. So I was kind of distancing myself from the cheaper ones, and then I found this perfect example of a big cabinet humidor, and it's handmade by Marc André. That's like the that's like the big motherfucker here in humidor making in Europe, especially in Germany. He's doing a lot of customizations with humidors, and then he has this one flagship humidor he's selling. And I was looking at it and I was saying, man, that's exactly the humidor I want. It's looking exactly like I want to have it, and it has all the technical gimmicks I want to have when it comes to the lighting and how the inside is looking and so on. So I was tiptoeing around this humidor for a while, you know. And you know, my final decision was kind of like, I was sitting here, exactly here where I'm sitting right now. My wife was sitting right in front of me, and I'm talking about this humidor, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, I was keep on saying, I'm not sure, it's so expensive and so on, and I don't know, I'm unsure and so on. And then all of a sudden, my wife said, you know, nah, fuck it, you know, you you don't have to look at the budget so much, because I don't want to say I have enough money, but you know, that's it. Money wise, it wasn't a real problem, you know. So she said, you know what, like, I don't know the exact words, but she said something like, man, you deserve it. Just buy this humidor, and buy it exactly the way you want it. Um, don't cut the lighting and so on. Configure it exactly the way you want it. And it's like, if it costs like a little bit extra, take it. Believe me, you won't regret it. And I said, okay. I mean, it's not like I needed permission from my wife buying things, but you know, it was just like a discussion about it, and she like confirmed my thoughts about it, and it was kind of cool. So I thought, okay, god damn it, I ordered it, you know. So I ordered this humidor like 3 weeks ago or so, and then Mark Andres started building the humidor, and he even called me like 2 days later after I ordered it, and he said, I'm start building the humidor right now. Tell me exactly what you're what you what you're doing with it. So how is your cigar life looking like? You have more boxes, more single cigars, and so on. So I explained exactly what I need, like taking all the boxes because I have way more boxes than single cigars. And I explained like I have a lot of boxes and as a humidor, so mainly I will use it as a storage for all the cigar boxes I have, and then maybe one shelf with singles, just because it's looking cool. I said, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. So he was building it like exactly how I wanted it, and as I said, so I think Monday it arrived, and I was like, wow, Jesus Christ, what a beautiful humidor. was, and he explained, he said, when the humidor arrives, don't start it immediately. So leave it for a day or at least for like 10 or 12 hours. Leave it because it needs to, um, when it arrives, it's cold and it takes some time, Leave it there, and then after a couple of hours or the next day, start filling it with boxes and cigars, and then everything's cool. But I don't want to talk too much about this humidor right now, because what I will do is a couple of people asked for it, and I wasn't unsure about it, but now I think, okay, now it's time. I will do in the next weeks or so. I will do a humidor tour, and I will start with the new one, and then I will go over to the smaller one, like uh, in my living room, and just showing what the humidor is looking like, how it works, and what's in there, and so on. I'm still not sure if it's so exciting, but I will do it, and I hope it will be okay. So I said earlier that the week was kind of filled with mixed feelings. The humidor was the good one, but other than that, um, I'm working on a project right now where I cannot like talk too much about it, but it kind of takes some attention. I need some attention. So it was kind of busy week, feeling like a lot of decisions, and it was at some point it was kind of hard, but that's okay. I'm always saying that's like in German we say it like that's jammern auf hohem Niveau, and that means something like when you complaining about shit, because there are a lot of other people who have real problems. So when you're complaining about like these tiny little things, I know that's the way it is. I mean, we're always complaining about things. That's easier, I think. Um, but it kind of was exhausting. Um, when you don't need to go in much detail, but when I'm talking about, you see where I'm coming from, and what I'm talking about is it's like we all know this business partners or colleagues or however you want to call it, or whatever fits better in your life, um, and like you explaining a thing, and you're the other guy said like, oh yes, I got it, and then he's doing it, and you figure, okay, he I don't know what he thinks he's doing there, but that's not what I was talking about. And you're explaining it again, and it's not working out the way it should be, And you think, okay, man, are you a fucking moron or what? So I'm really one of one of the not so good sides about myself is I'm not very patient, especially when it comes to explaining things. I know that I'm not good at it. I would never be a good teacher. So I'm getting impatient with some things where I know I should be more patient, but I cannot change it. I'm working on it, but that's the way it is at the moment. And but you know, it's not. I'm not getting loud or shouting at people. It's just like, you know, the other guy then figures, okay, man, he's there's the border, and I'm probably close to crossing that border, so better be cool. Um, and that happened like 3 or 4 times this week, and I was like, oh man, I'm just working with idiots. It was kind of crazy this week, but I kind of hope we're over it, and next week will be a little bit better. And when I'm talking about working and so on, because I have a lot of friends, they're working really hard, like they have 2 jobs or doing like they're working like, I don't know, man, 50, 60 hours per week or so. And life's a hassle. And man, I'm fucking sitting here and I'm working like, don't know, 20 hours per week maximum, and I'm still complaining. And I think, man, Andy, you're not in the position complaining about things. But then, man, it just even tiny things sometimes they're getting on your nerves, even when they're not so important. And I always think it's better talking about it than just keep it inside and keep it inside and inside, and at some point in 6 months or so, you're kind of exploding. So I'm always trying to talking about things when they're getting on my nerves, most of the time. I was smoking a few more Cubans this week, and there was this one thing that was also getting on my nerves. Don't know if you remember, like 2 weeks ago, I've released that review of the new H. Upman Condenser number 2, where we were able to attend that global lounge event. And, I love that cigar. That's a really good cigar for a good price. And I still remember that guy at that event, and he was talking about the new age up and coming, what is so good about it, and so on and so on. And then of course people asked, like, okay, man, there are obviously a lot of distribution problems with Cuban cigars, so simply a lot of cigars are just not available. So what is it with that new one? How's it looking like? And he said, like, well, don't worry, after that global launch event, the week that's coming after that, the cigars will be available. We have enough. And I was like, oh, cool, wow, that's nice. So, and he was right. So the week after that event, cigars were there. So I just bought a few ones, put it in my humidor, and keep on smoking it. And like the week after that, they were like fucking gone. I mean, not available. I checked my favorite brick and mortar store, and not there. I checked like my favorite online stores, out of stock. And I thought, you you said there will be enough there, and now man, it's just 1 week passed and they are gone. So what the heck is going on? Why are you doing a global launch event about a new cigar, and that cigar is not available after that? So I don't know how these guys are doing business, but that is fucking insane, you know. I don't get it. Well, I mean, luckily here and there was able to get a few ones, but that's not the way it should be. I mean, and we're talking about that's like a regular edition. It's not like a limited or something. That's in the regular portfolio, and they said it will be there, and it's not there. So I don't know, man. That's things like this. They're getting on my nerves. But you know what helps smoking other good cigars and drinking some whiskey? Jesus. So how far are we at here? 40 minutes already. That's nice. I was, compared to the midnight smokes I'm doing on that podcast thing, I'm talking a lot today. Talking about Netflix. In one of the last episodes, in one of the reviews of Cigar Talks, can't remember, I was talking a little bit about Vikings and that I finished it and so on, and then I figured, okay, a couple of guys who are viewing my reviews and stuff, they're also liking Vikings, and I thought, like when we're doing that night owl thing over here, it's maybe also a good place or a good occasion where I can talk about like serious and other stuff. So Vikings was very cool. Enjoyed it so much. And then I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but when we're there on when I'm finished, really good series. So I'm kind of sad that it's finished. Because it's you can watch it again, but it's not the same feeling. And I'm doing it with a couple of series or movies that I'm watching it again and again, but it's never the same because you already know how it will end, and what the storyline, the plot is, and so on. So, and I'm pretty sure Vikings. I mean, I will probably watch it again, like in next year or so, when I forgot a few details, and it's cool to watch it again and rediscover all the things. Um, so what I'm doing at the moment is I watched the new Mandalorian season. It was also very cool, especially when you're like me, like a big Star Wars fan. So I loved Mandalorian, especially the second season. It was kind of extra cool. But I also finished that one. So I ordered like a few days ago The Office, the US version of The Office, and it arrived like yesterday. And it was like actually were my original plan was getting it on Blu-ray, because for years ago I switched from DVD to Blu-ray. So whenever I'm buying new stuff, I'm always trying to buying it as a Blu-ray and not as a DVD, uh, because of the obvious quality differences. So, but man, I was looking for it, and The Office, it was just not available as a Blu-ray. And even here in Germany, it was kind of hard to get. I bought it now at Amazon, and they only had like a UK import. So even in Germany, it was not available. And I thought, man, it was a really successful series. And I thought, how's it possible that they are not releasing it on a Blu-ray? just on a DVD, and why is it not available directly here in Germany? Why do I have to like import it from the UK? It was crazy. Anyhow, I finally got it, and the good thing about it is I never watched it completely. Only here and there, one episode or so, so I have no clue about the whole series. And I think like next week or so, then I will start The Office and see how it really is. Because a lot of my buddies, they were saying, man, that's kind of such a cool series, you know. We had years ago, we had like a German version of The Office, and it was called Stromberg. And man, it was hilarious. I loved it, you know. I loved the characters on it, the plot, the storyline, the humor that's coming with it, and I knew back then that it was like only an adaptation from The Office. So I always wanted to like watch the original. And I know the US version is also not the original because even before the US version with Steve Carell, there was an UK Office, and that's the original, but it only had 2 seasons. I also never watched this one. So, but I'm now starting with the US version and see how it is. I hope it will be amazing. Well, let's see. What are you guys watching at the moment? If you have any favorite series or whatever, put it down in the comments, let me know, so we can maybe talk about this one, if you want to. You know that peaty whiskey here, together with that very aromatic cigar and the chocolate, that's an insane pairing. And you know, because that Kentucky Fried Good here is like kind of spicy. And then I have this very mild milk chocolate that's just only sweet and has no spice at all, of course, and no bitterness and nothing. And that's like great, because when you first smoking the cigar and then you eating the chocolate, that chocolate gets its extra spice that's coming from the cigar. Man, that's great. And then you neutralize all the whole palate with that peaty whiskey. And then you're smoking again the cigar, and it's like it starts all over again. Wow. I can get very excited about this sort of stuff, you know, pairing and figuring out all the flavors on cigars and drinks and so on. Just love to doing that. Next week we have a couple of nice things going on Smoker Spot. I finished a few cool videos, I think. And if you remember, the Arturo Fuente got a fire, and also the Adrian Fernandez I did last week. And I said it was like the first time we doing a Fuente review, and also the first time we're doing an Adrian Fernandez review. We'll have another review coming this Friday. It will also cover a cigar that we never had in a review. So we had like three reviews in a row with cigars we never reviewed. I mean, not, of course, not the exact cigars, but I mean, not even the brand, you know. And that showed me again. But there's such a variety of cigars and brands. It's hard to cover everything, you know. I figured that like 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, everybody also here on Smoker Spot, we're publishing like the top 10, top 5, top whatever cigars, you know. And then, man, I saw a lot of these lists with people I constantly visiting their channels and so on, and I know that they're not like amateurs on cigars, so they know what they're talking about, and most importantly, like I know they are honest and not no bullshit, you know. If it's a good cigar, it's a good cigar. If it's a bad cigar, it's just a bad cigar, no matter what brand is it coming from or who's behind it, you know. And that's what I kind of respect when you're always telling, like, just being straight, you know. And I think people also recognizing that authenticity uh, in your words or in your reviews. So anyhow, I watch all, like, whatever channel I subscribed, I watched this list, you know, and on some I commented or whatever, but I watched all of them, and then I figured, man, how many different cigars are out there, you know, because, like, literally, we had no, like, there was no crossing, you know. Watch all these lists, and the cigars these guys were covering, they were not in my list at all, you know, but they're all good cigars, you know. So, and that shows we all kind of specialized in different things, you know. We all have our favorites that we automatically picking, you know. Like, I have to admit, man, myself, for example, I'm a big Davidoff fan, you know, so I'm smoking a lot of Davidoff cigars. And when I'm looking around, of course, other people also smoking Davidoff, but they're not covered so much, you know. But I think that's kind of the cool thing about it, that you have so many people talking about cigars, making reviews, and they're all kind of different, you know. So that's cool, and this way it's also possible to discover new things, you know. Because maybe just for yourself you would never pick that cigar that this guy was talking about, but because he praised it, you're saying, okay, I will give it a try. Then you figure, man, it's a good cigar. So I love that. I also bought a couple of new books. They were coming this week, also kind of cool. And like one book I have to show you. That's oh, it's kind of big. Jesus, that's of course it's a German version, but it's a story from H.P. Lovecraft, and it's the original. It's like the Call of Cthulhu, and here it's in German. It's like Cthulhu's Ruf. So that's a novel. It was written like in the 1930s or so, if I'm right, or 1920s. Not quite sure right now, uh, but you know, like 100 years ago. And it's kind of like a fantasy science fiction horror novel. And I love H.P. Lovecraft, and I've read this story like 10 times. But the special thing about this one was the whole novel is in this like big book, but a guy called Berenger, he's like an how do you put it? Like he's illustrating a lot of things for video games and movies and so on, and he put pictures in there, like that are coming along with the storyline, you know. And it was kind of cool. I saw it at Amazon actually, because we had lockdown, all the bookstores are closed too, and I saw it and instantly I ordered it. And I was looking at it as it arrived like 2 days ago or so. I was looking at it, thinking, wow, what a. I would just read it again, you know, looking at the images he's putting in there and reading the story along with it. I think that will be a cool experience. And also, I got myself a new album. I also have it like here. So I don't know what you guys are listening music wise, but I'm a big Passenger fan. Passenger is like a it's from Glasgow. It's like singer songwriter stuff, and man, I'm following him like for a decade or so. I just love his songs because they exactly reflecting sometimes my situation. You know how I'm feeling and so on. So very often he's like on point. You know, and I already heard this one like easily like 20 times. You know, and if you want to have like, well, I'll just give you a suggestion. So the name of the album is like, man, that's so cool. Songs for the Drunk and Broken Hearted, and you have this clown here on the cover, and that's exactly what it is. It's a song. He's making songs for the drunk and broken hearted. You know, sometimes, and I just love it. And my favorite song on this one is like "Sword from the Stone," and the title, "A Song for the Drunk and Broken Hearted." That's like two of my favorite songs here on that album. So if you get a chance and you're on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, go and check it out and let me know what you think. I love it, really. I can hear it, I can listen to it for hours, you know, on on repeat. That is crazy. Um, and my all time favorite, like from all the Passenger songs out there, my all time favorite is like Feather on the Clyde. Well, that's a song like it's very emotional for me. You know, it's a fantastic song. It's about the Clyde. It's that's a river in Glasgow, and you know the picture he's presenting in his song is like a feather that is floating away on the river, and then there's a story behind it. So I don't want to talk too much about it. Also, if you get a chance, like listen to it and let me know. Empty, but I think we can drink another one. Decanter is still full. Love that one. I'm now working on that smoke circles for weeks. Finally, I'm getting to a point where most of uh, my tries are successful. It's still like 5 out of 10, but that's good. I started with we're not able to doing it at all, and now kind of works. Uh, oh, that's not looking so bad. I'm, when I that's also a crazy story. You know the podcast we do, like, and like this one buddy Michael, he's doing like perfect, you know, every time. And I was looking at it. We know each other for years, you know, and he's doing it all the time. And I was watching it and I said, well, cool, man. I cannot do it. I cannot do it, you know. And then we're getting into that, and he's trying to explain how to do it, and I just were not able to doing it, you know. And then I kind of get it. It was like, man, I have to learn that. There's no way that it's not possible for me to doing that stupid thing, you know. And so for weeks, I was trying to do that smoke circles, you know. And I think the first one I I had was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, you know, and I was like, holy shit. And I was there, and I still, back then, I still didn't exactly know how to do it, you know, it was just like a coincidence. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and then I was getting better and better at it. But I mean, it's such a hilarious tiny thing, you know. But that was like, there's no way that he can do it, and I cannot do it, you know. I have to learn that thing, you know. And that's also not such a, like I said, one of the negative things about me is I'm not so patient, you know, when it comes to specific points. And that's another point. Like uh, sometimes it's like a challenge for me, you know. I see something and I think, you know, okay, I have to learn that. I have to do that, you know. And then I'm into that thing for forever, you know, until I learned it. That's not very nice. It's not. I'm working on that too, but it's getting hard, you know. And now, I mean, that's just a fun thing, you know. So nothing important, but it's also the same thing with other things that are more important, you know. Um, uh, we're not perfect, right? So so guys, already talking here for over an hour. We are slowly coming here to an end. Okay, where's the focus? Ah, here we go. The, almost at the band. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about that night owl thing. Is that like enjoyable or is it like bullshit? I will probably still doing it no matter if it's bullshit or not, because it's just fun, you know. But it would be great if like if you're leaving me some feedback how it is. Is that something that's cool, or do you think it's like makes no sense at all, too long, too boring, whatever? If you watch until up to now, the chances are good that you somehow enjoyed it, which would be cool. Anyhow, let me know. I hope you can smoke a good cigar, enjoy life, drink some good whiskey, listen to good music, read a good book, man. Like I said, enjoy life. You know it's short, and we should enjoy every minute. Um, Most importantly, stay safe and stay healthy. You know that. Guys, I wish you good night or good day whenever you're watching that over here. And I hope to see you again on the next episode on the Night Owl, or on the review, or on the Cigar Talk, or pairing, or whatever we are doing here. Have a good one.